Good evening and welcome to Recovering Perfectionist Mama, Grace in Progress. My name is Buffy and I will be your host today and always of this podcast. Today we're going to do a 4-part series on trauma. The first one is going to be trauma isn't what happened, it's how your nervous system learned to survive. Trauma isn't just the event. And it's not the length of the event, it's not how the event occurred, it is what your body learned to do after the event. Whether it was your first time with trauma or you are a multiple time trauma survivor, the event kind of becomes overshadowed by what happens after the event. And if you've ever wondered why you react the way you do, this episode is for you. You're not weird, you're not strange. People can't look at you and think that you have a mark on you of some kind. I know that a lot of times people get really self-conscious about being trauma survivors, and there are people who've known them for years and never realized that they were actually trauma survivors until one day they shared with them, hey, I experienced a significant amount of trauma and I want to talk about it with you because I trust you. I've known you for years. And they're like, oh, wow, you've actually, it's like, yeah, I don't just lead with that. That I don't have that tattooed on my forehead, but trauma is an adaptation. And it's adaptation to, they say you can't go home again. Well, ultimately, the trauma does change us. There are negative ways and positive ways in which we feel that we're changed. And we're never really going to completely be the person that we were before the trauma, before we had the ability to not lead from that, or to be hyper vigilant, or to second guess ourselves, to not trust ourselves, to feel like we're strange and we're weird and all these things that you may feel and experience. It's an adaptation. It's kind of growing stronger. It's learning to live in the boundaries in which you are in which you are a trauma survivor and you've learned from that. And there are positives to that as well. One of the ones that I think about is the ability to kind of keep myself safe, to trust my intuition, to be able to just read vibes. The empathy that I've experienced for other people. It sometimes is kind of like just very overwhelming. I also feel like at times that God sends certain people to you. For me, there's people who literally will come up to me and want to talk to me about their life story, what they're going through, like how they're struggling. And I try to meet them where they are. There are other times where I'm just like, I'm kind of over run right now, and so I don't really have the energy to be able to do that. And it's really difficult for me to come to that conclusion sometimes, and I try to do the best I can. But the nervous system learns before language. So a lot of the things that you can sometimes experience, the racing thoughts, the somatic symptoms, I don't know how many of you have experienced the somatic symptoms like trouble sleeping, digestive, gastrointestinal issues, heart racing, negative dreams, all sorts of things. And when you get overtired, things can oftentimes be even worse. There's the hypervigilance where you're constantly, I think a lot of people like to sit like with their back to the wall so they know that they're at least safe. I know for me that I struggle with having people that I don't really know very well touching me or being in my space. Or being in really crowded places where it doesn't seem like there's anywhere that you can actually like not run into people and just get overwhelmed. People pleasing is a big one. You don't want to raise any red flags, so you try to do what people want you to do, kind of go with the flow. And some of that also is just kind of childhood too. Dealing with certain things in childhood where you learn expected responses, and oftentimes I wasn't always the child who did the expected responses, and having control, whether that is restricting your eating, whether that is, being the good person, the perfect person, doing what people want you to do. Those are all a way to kind of be under the radar, to do what needs to be done so that you don't experience discomfort or other areas of trauma or disappointment of people, because you kind of become kind of the caretaker in a way. And these responses once worked, so that's why you kept doing them and kept realizing. You also were probably likely able to read a room fairly quickly and determine what was needed in the room, whether someone was happy, unhappy, and you probably made it your job to take care of that person, to make sure that they were satisfied, that they were happy, so that there would be no rocking the boat. You probably also despise conflict. I know as an attorney, it's kind of weird for me to say that I really have an issue sometimes with confrontation, just confronting people in general. I mean, that's just something that I do. But for me, this looked like a lot of perfectionism, a lot of people pleasing, a lot of not standing up for myself. I could stand up for anyone else, but I had trouble standing up for myself. I felt like there was almost like a mark on me, and I used to believe that this meant that I was broken, that I was cursed in some way or some other thing. At one point, I actually believed that God had punished me, but I later know that came from someone else rather than me, meaning that someone else had told me that. So, that's another thing to think about. And just know, in the reframe, let's reframe this. Nothing is wrong with you. You did not do anything wrong. You did not cause this. The other person knew at the time when they picked you what they were going to do, and that they are the person that is solely responsible for this. So whether you have someone say, oh, well, didn't you do this? And didn't you do this? And didn't you do this? And you know what? You did not know what was about to happen. And you did not know how drastically this would alter your life. And for someone to point a finger at you and ask you, well, did you do this? Did you do this? Did you do this? Do not even entertain that thought. What was learned can be gently updated. So ultimately know that you are not alone. There are a lot of people similar to you who have experienced trauma, and they come out on the other side just as you will. And look at the positives if you can, as far as the intuition and the other things that you have going for you. And realize, give yourself some compassion. There's no need to fix you. You're just updating, constantly evolving, and that is important. Now let's go into healing. Doesn't mean you'll be normal. It means you'll be safe in yourself. Some of us won't ever be calm the internet's way, and that's okay. Healing does not mean constant peace. It doesn't mean that every piece is going to fit back together and you're going to feel like your old self and that it'll be like nothing ever happened. Because ultimately, once we've been altered, we can't just go back to what we were before. But the good news is we come back better, stronger, more resilient. We also have the ability to help others who've experienced what we've experienced. And we're able to show compassion and love for others and have empathy and have intuition and all those things that we need. And healing doesn't always equal being perfect. But healing can give you some internal safety and some feeling like things are going to be okay. Ultimately, experience the wide gambit of emotions is okay, right? And the range of that matters more than the absence of triggers, because we're always going to have triggers. To this day, I think I'm 22 years out of my most recent incident, and I still at times get triggered by like a neck tattoo or something of that sort. So it's really kind of difficult sometimes, or somebody will say something, or someone will touch me or something that I'm not comfortable with, and it will trigger me. Or a song will trigger me, or a smell will trigger me. But different wiring does not mean failure. We're all different. We're all made to be different. And I think sometimes things happen for a reason. Not saying that anyone deserved this or anything. I'm saying my personal philosophy, because that's the way I look at it. I look at it that in some ways, it was a terrible experience and it was a painful experience. But ultimately, I learned what I was capable of. And ultimately, I was able to help other people. So for me, I feel like that kind of helped others. So my pain and such was not wasted. I don't think I'll ever be someone who just doesn't try to continue improving, doesn't look at it as maybe it kind of got me back on the path that I should have been on to begin with. And I come from a long line of survivors of assault and other traumas. So I know that I come from a strong stock. And I think that's what helped me. That helped me realize that, everybody has bad things happen to them from time to time. And they come out on the other side of it, So let's reframe this. Safety first, then calm. So once your body knows that you're safe, then you're going to be able to calm. Like your nervous system is going to be calm, not the other way around. You don't heal by erasing yourself, right? Your experiences all make yourself who you are. And ultimately, I remember reading this thing on Facebook that said, you would not be the same person if we took all of your experiences away, we took all of your personalities away, we took all the negative experiences away from you. You are who you are based on the good and the bad experiences that have happened to you. They help shape you. They help make you who you are. And you would not be who you are today. Maybe you wouldn't have met the same people. Maybe you wouldn't have had the same parents. Who knows who you have now, right? And that is all because of the experiences that shaped you. Good and bad, you're the mix of both. And to take any of those away, it would not be you. And also, you have permission to become who you want to be. You have permission to focus on what matters to you most. And you have permission to ignore the things that you don't want to deal with, the things you don't want to think about. You have permission to do what you want. Your body, your choice, your life, your choice. And you're a strong person and you're going to get through this, right? You're free to stay if you like and continue listening to the next two, or, listen or urgency, whatever you feel like you want to do. You want to stay and listen, you want to listen another time, you're overwhelmed, whatever makes sense. No pressure whatsoever. Completely understand. Part 3. Your inner child isn't weak. She's still trying to protect you. That part of you people call dramatic, learned early. Let's talk about the inner child. I know some people think that the inner child is bunk, and I have done some inner child work, and it makes a lot of sense because ultimately that inner child is still there waiting. It's almost like I look at people sometimes and think, especially those that I can sense pain and hurt in, and I sense them with their little backpack carrying all their little hurts. I know it's kind of sad to think about, isn't it? But aren't we all just little children, like carrying our little wheelie backpack, hoping that someone will notice that we are struggling, that we need compassion, that we need kindness? The world can be an extremely difficult, unforgiving place. And that unforgiving place often skewers people with fragile, sensitive hearts who wear their heart on their sleeve and who want to show love and compassion to others because they know what it's like to not have the love and compassion that they've given others. And to have the empathy and be able to tell how someone feels just by being around them. So the inner child is able to recognize early patterns. It's not immaturity. It's actually wisdom. And I think that that's a great thing to get from this. I mean, it's not like you have the choice to undo it. We don't. But we can look at the positive, optimistic side of it. And sometimes when you overreact, it's an unmet safety cue. You feel frustrated. You feel out of control. Generally, when you feel out of control, there's a reason why it is. And trust your instincts. I mean, I've learned that over and over, and I'm sure many of you have as well. And the younger parts of us want reassurance, not correction. We don't need to be told we're too loud. We don't need to be told we're overreacting. We don't need to be told that, that person's okay. They're my friend. I know who they are. Absolutely not. Or we don't need to be asked, well, what did you do to cause that? Did you yell? Did you scream? Did you fight back? And what's crazy is a lot of these questions come from other well-meaning friends who don't understand. Well, I would have yelled. I would have fought back. I probably would have hurt him. Okay, well, has it happened to you before? No. And I will say this in the kindest, most politest way I can. And I say this a lot. No one knows what exactly they will do until they're in that situation. So, until that person has experienced that, they do not know how they will react. Are they going to fight? Are they going to run? Are they going to freeze? Or are they going to fawn? And you won't know until you experience it, which is why every one of us deserves compassion and deserves and needs to offer compassion to others. So when I get triggered, it's usually about fairness. It's usually about respecting others. It's usually about being kind to others. I really don't like bullies. I really don't like people who are very overbearing and are kind of the abusive type. I even have a vibe to be able to kind of pick out the people that I think are probably predators. So that kind of keeps me safe a lot of times. I mean, I've had scenarios where I feel like someone is choking me. So that's really not good, but kind of keeps me aware of my surroundings. So I think about the things about all of us, like what do we need when we were younger? That part needed me to have love, to have reassurance, to have someone who I could actually talk to about things. And like I said, I come from a line of survivors, and I did have that. And I think that that changed a lot for me. I think that it helped me realize that I was worthy, that I was valuable, that I was loved, because the physical affection, such as hugging your child and reassuring them, is invaluable. And I think that a lot of people miss that, you know, the encouragement that you give your children and the encouragement that you show them. Let's reframe. You don't discipline pain. You care for it, right? So if your child goes out and they're on their bicycle and they fall and they cut their knee, are you going to say, well, you know what? I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do for you? I mean, you were stupid enough to fall. So, I mean, that's just what's going to happen. No, you would encourage them and pick them up and give them a hug and tell them they're going to be okay. Maybe get them an ice cream or something, you know? Pat them on the back and tell them that you love them. Protection isn't pathology, right? We just need encouragement, guys. Giving encouragement, making the world a better place, smiling at strangers, showing love. It's all we got at the end of the day. And if you feel inclined, feel free to do a gentle inner child check and see how it's going. See how they're feeling. Check in, see how they're doing. What they want from you, what they need from you. So I want to say that kindness can make the world go round. Bullies aren't fun. But sometimes, just sometimes, they have a moment of clarity and realize that they're on the wrong side. Feel free to maybe start journaling, maybe the automatic writing or the morning pages. No pressure. Nothing's ever required. Also know that I'm working on a leveling up product planner, and that I'll let you know about that here soon. Okay, so our final part here today is progress isn't calm, it's coming back to yourself faster. Healing isn't measured by how calm you are. Progress is when you're able to regulate quicker. And ultimately, it's just one step at a time. You're going to get better as time goes on. You're going to get better as you get more confident in your abilities, as you know what actually helps you regulate faster. Maybe it's walking in the grass with your bare feet. Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's talking to a friend that you trust. Maybe it's doing art, healing through art. Maybe it's talking to your mom. And also being less ashamed when you have moments where you feel kind of out of it, or you feel like you're triggered and you don't know how to come back down. Maybe you have the somatic symptoms. Maybe you have the anxiety. Maybe you have all of that and you don't know how to deal with it and you're out of your head and you don't know what to do. Don't be ashamed. There's no reason to be ashamed. It's just a natural part of your body and who you are right now. And that's okay. And self-return instead of self-abandonment. Know that you're coming back into yourself. You're figuring out what works for you and what doesn't. Don't abandon yourself. You put so much work in. You put so much effort in. It's going to be okay. It really is. And one day you'll look back at this and say, you know what? I am coming into my own. And I feel like I'm doing what I'm meant to do. And spirals will gradually shorten over time. Give you more time to not be in a spiral, which is a win-win. I still get activated with just stress and overwhelm and anxiety. But now I'm trying to use a lot more mindfulness, as well as acknowledging and not rushing through life, like enjoying like my kids and enjoying my spouse, enjoying my family, and just trying to absorb every single thing I can do. I really like to take pictures. I'm not saying they're great pictures, but memories are just so great, especially since I lost one of my biggest supporters here this past June, which was really difficult. And the difference I notice is that I'm more aware, and that I'm trying to be mindful of not traumatizing my kids. We don't go into a lot of the trauma discussions just because it's not appropriate, in my opinion, at this point. And they thankfully have broken the chain. Like, I was able to break the chain. So we have a safe family, thank goodness. And I hope that it continues and that my children are able to not experience what we've experienced, right? And regulation isn't perfection. It's just being regulated. It's just being even. It's trusting yourself. It's doing the good things for yourself, the self-care, like eating right, exercising, journaling if that helps you, having people to rely on, a village, and coming back is the work, one day at a time. And before you know, you'll look back and you'll say, I arrived. How wonderful of a day that will be. Oh, happy day, right? So, in closing to this 4-part series, I just want to say to you, thank you for tuning in. I want to say to you that you can stay with me. I'm safe. I'm an ally. And we'll keep talking gently, calmly, and realizing that trauma is not a personality flaw. It's not a personality trait. It's not something that people can see in you. But there's something about you that people can tell is different. Eyes that truly see, ears that truly listen, and a mouth that speaks with truth and compassion. You got that? You're on top of the world, right? And you show others that they matter, because you probably know what it's like to feel like you don't matter. And I hope that you never, ever, ever feel that way again. Well, thank you for tuning in. My name is Buffy, and I hope that you'll come back and see me again soon. Have a great day. Bye-bye.